new Sean Baker film, which is always a cause for celebration. He made Tangerine, which I think was all shot on an iPhone, Florida Project, which was one of my favorite films of 2017, and Red Rocket, for which you interviewed him. And I remember that you got on very well. So Anora premiered at Cannes in May, won the Palme d'Or, currently shaping up as a major awards contender as we go into this awards season. Written, directed, edited, and co-produced by Sean Baker. As always, he's doing everything. So Mikey Madsen, who was the Mansonite Susan Atkins in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, is Anora, but calls herself Annie. That's the name that she likes. She's an exotic dancer in a Brooklyn club in the Brighton Beach area. So one night she's sent to tend to a party of Russians because she is from Russian family and she sort of speaks the language, although she says, I understand it, but I don't really speak it, but she does. She meets Vanya, who is a young man with tons and tons of money and loads of drunk friends. She dances for him. He takes a shine to her. He invites her to a party at a mansion, like a mansion the likes of which you have never seen, a massive sort of glass cathedral. He's the son of an oligarch, but he's a big kid. He plays video games, drinks, takes drugs, does nothing with his young life other than be fakeless. And they seem to have a spark. And then she agrees to make a kind of Pretty Woman style bargain with him that he will pay her to be his girlfriend for a week. And so they party in New York, and then he flies her and his crew to Las Vegas, where they promptly check into a swanky hotel where he acts like he owns the place. Anyway, so the partying continues. The bond between them ceases to grow. He thinks he's fallen in love with her. The whole thing is a fairy tale. But Vegas isn't real life. And when they get back to Brooklyn, they discover that his parents have heard about them and they want the relationship stopped. They want everything annulled. And to this end, they send Toros to sort it out, the Godfather to sort it out, along with a henchman played by Yuri Borisov, who was so brilliant in that 2021 film Compartment Number 6, which I really liked. So the rest of the film then plays out with the kind of breathless energy of Jonathan Demme's Something Wild, and the impending threat of Cronenberg's Eastern Promises. And weirdly enough, the kind of the screwball wit of something like, It Happened One Night. I mean, it's a long film, but it never feels long because it's absolutely breathless in terms of its energy. You're pulled from pillar to post with these characters who feel palpably real and empathetic. And there's a number of reasons why it works. One of them is, Sean Baker has done dramas that deal with sex work before. Indeed, you talked to him about that with Red Rocket. And he's made it his mission to destigmatize it and to tell stories which are universal stories. And that's exactly what he does here. On the one hand, you could say, the narrative is about a Brooklyn stripper who falls in love with a Russian oligarch or who gets involved with a Russian oligarch's son. But that's not what it's about at all. It's about a tough-spirited young person making her way in the world who comes across a spoiled man-child who is still tied to his very scary mother's apron strings and the drama that then unfolds. Andrea Werhan, who's a Canadian writer and actress who is best known for the 2018 memoir Modern Whore, was brought on as a consultant to make sure that any of the stuff they were dealing with in terms of the sex work in the film was done properly and responsibly. And I think it does pay dividends because I think you do feel that what you're watching is a drama that actually knows the area it's talking about. It's also a film, and this is true of all of Sean Baker's films, in which characters on the periphery, and a lot of the time he deals with characters on the periphery of mainstream life, they are all drawn with the same density and fluidity so that when somebody who is on the periphery becomes center stage, it doesn't seem odd at all. It's like that real thing in the real world when somebody who is part of a group who doesn't seem to be the most significant character can then become a very significant character, and they've already been drawn adequately enough that that's the case. It's really well shot by Drew Daniels, who shot Red Rocket and also Waves, and also It Comes at Night, which I loved. There's a sequence in it that's got a very direct visual nod to the French Connection L train chase, which I laughed at because I thought it was to do with the fact that it's got a real sense of its location. I mean, you really feel like you're in that world, and an absolutely brilliant brilliant central performance by Mikey Madsen, who is just pure cinema dynamite in terms of the way in which she brings you into the world of this character, and then you barrel along with her. I mean, she is full on, absolutely like 100% energy, and you can see why it is that she kind of freaks people out. Anyway, it's a wild ride. It's really well done. It's very sensitive. It's very moving. It's also very exciting and often funny and sometimes kind of crazy and out of control. And definitely one of the films of the year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Never mind film of the week, which I haven't asked you about yet.
Yeah.
But one of the films of the
year?
I've
kind of preempted that now, haven't I?
You have really.